Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Miles. I'm the board chair here at ETV. It's a huge pleasure to welcome you all. I know it looks like a meeting of my bitter ex-girlfriends, Anonymous, but we're here, of course, to celebrate a dear friend and a New Haven institution. I've had friends come from Dublin who came to New Haven, a big foodie town, and I knew there was only one choice as to where I could bring them for lunch and to sit on the sidewalk way before that was cool. Um, and that, of course, was Claire's Cornucopia. Big thank you to all of you for coming. We're on the cusp of evolving here at ETV, and partly through our recent unexpected but insanely great partnership with Hagaman and a series of different events, many of which Chris has put together. We've had just an absolutely phenomenal few months. We're thrilled that you're all here. You're all sitting on brand new furniture that came in since our last big fundraiser drive, and the goods keep getting gooder. Amongst our board and staff members here at ETV are volunteers, members of the Friends of Hagaman. So we're very interwoven, and Hagaman and all of its folks are very dear to all of us, and we're thrilled to have you all here. You're more than welcome to support ETV should you feel so inclined. Those are tax-deductible donations, either in person or on our website. Almost more importantly than that, when you get a chance, shoot an email to us, stop me or one of the crew, or speak to Debbie or Debbie. We have 100% of our Debbies here tonight. And let us know the kind of events and programming you'd love to see here. I will now, speaking of great programming, turn it over to Chris, who will introduce our special guest. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, hello, and welcome to Hagaman Library Book Talk. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Chris Hemingway. I'm the reference librarian at the Hagaman Library here in East Haven. And today we have a special guest, Claire Criscuolo, and she is the owner of Claire's Cornucopia in New Haven, a very iconic restaurant in New Haven. And she's going to be talking about her latest book, 50 Vegetarian Recipes from 50 Years of Claire's Cornucopia. And first, I just want to thank Jay, everyone here at ETV for all their support for hosting us tonight. And also a special thank you to the Hagaman Library, the staff and the director of the Hagaman Library for all their support in making this event possible. And with that, we'll kick it off. Thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Hagaman's a long, old friend of mine.
Yes.
We were talking about that. I pretty much feel like I grew up at the Hagaman.
Yes. And now you're an East Haven native. So tell us about growing up in East Haven.
Oh, gosh. Growing up in East Haven was wonderful, but I think it was the time as much as it was anywhere. You know, neighbors knew neighbors and helped out. And I think that today I'm so involved in my community because I was a recipient for many years. And the Hagaman Library was our lifeline, especially for my older brother, Billy. He went to Notre Dame, and we couldn't afford encyclopedias, and the Hagaman was our go-to. So we hung out there and used all the references and the reference desks and the librarians and went there to do our homework. And I love libraries. It's, for me, the only level playing field in this country that still exists because everyone has full access, and I love that.
Yes, in Hagaman Libraries, it's a safe space and it's a welcoming space for all.
Exactly. So growing up in East Haven was great. You know, we had Metcalf's Drugstore, and we have Gift Haven and all the cute little shops. And knew our neighbors. And I went to East Haven Junior High School, the Garish School, Overbrook School, East Haven Junior High and High School. And then I left home and went to the University of Bridgeport School of Nursing and became a psychiatric nurse. So then I realized that I was working on the drug and alcohol program. And I don't know if it was the right thing, but it was the right thing for me. I had a very difficult time working with the drug-addicted mothers because I was putting their children at Clifford Beer's clinic. And I'm very grateful because I became a donor to St. Jude's because of them, because we had some of their children were very sick. And then we had, I was familiar with Clifford Beer's clinic because I was referring kids there. So it gave me that. But I just had a very difficult time with that. So one day in group, one of the mothers started yelling at me for ruining her life because she was so much better off before she came there. And that's when I knew that I needed to do something else. And I went home and said, I'm giving my notice tomorrow. And my husband said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to do what I've wanted to do for years. I'm going to cook. I'm going to start a restaurant with real food. I'm going to create a restaurant where we could have dressing that doesn't come out of a bottle, bread that starts being kneaded in the kitchen. And that's what I really wanted to do. And then that's kind of how it started. But years later, as we became successful, people in the community started asking us for donations. Actually, well, I was very happy because we were able to come with real food. And we were at the perfect time, too, because women had just recently returned to the workforce. And we were making food that they just didn't have time to make anymore. And real food. And my nursing background and my mother being a total health freak. I mean, anything that had a word in it, an ingredient. I mean, I think the only canned food I could remember in our house is canned tomatoes and tomato paste, because everything was dry beans, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, garden in the backyard, anything. If I ever came home with something, I said, Mom, I want Chef Boyardee ravioli, because I remember saying to her, Laura Miko had it. And she said, we don't eat ravioli out of a can. If you want ravioli, we will make ravioli, but we don't. And everything that wasn't like a food ingredient, she referred to as chemicals. No, we don't eat chemicals. So I just grew up with that. So it's not surprising that I opened the kind of restaurant I did. And I was a big like rights person, and I was always sensitive to animals. And so it's not even surprising that I stopped eating meat. But it also, it came at the right time. Because we were starting to actually think about the association between what you eat and how you feel.
What was it like starting a restaurant? That's like it's an incredible process, I imagine.
Oh God, I probably couldn't have started it today with what I started with back then, because we really were on a new frontier. We had this real estate man, Kushner Real Estate, out of West Haven, and I wanted to open a restaurant on a college campus because I felt as though the kids. I mean, I knew that the college food where I went to school was dismal. In fact, I was lucky that I was so close, because I called my mother after the first week and said, I'm coming home. And she thought it was the Hells Angels, because they had a motorcycle gang in Bridgeport at the time. And she said, oh my gosh, is it the motorcycles? And I said, no, it's the food. And I just remember saying, I know the soup comes out of a can. She said, well, honey, I mean, they're cooking for a lot of people. I said, then they should just multiply. But I'm coming home. I can't eat like this. I'll never survive. And so I moved back home. So real food was very important to me. I mean, for heaven's sakes, my mother squeezed lemons for lemonade all the way till the day she pretty much died. We always had fresh lemons in the refrigerator. So I was used to really good food. So we were looking for a location, and I wanted to be on a college campus. And then we went to go look at the place where we are. And I have to tell you, the daffodils were coming up across the street. And to this day, I am in love with the view from the window when the sun starts thinking about setting, because the light reflects on the steeple at Trinity Church so beautifully. It's Sunday, come and look on the corner from there. It's just so perfect. And I just knew this had to be the place. So we actually took over the lease from Fred DeLuca from the Subway Corporation. And he really thought it was going to be a placeholder. He thought we'd never survive. And he took my diamond engagement ring as collateral. And and we were on the corner. And he really thought it was going to be a space holder until he had the money to make another franchise there. Little did he know. And then, so we started, and I took out, we actually bought the caramel corn shop. So it was called Caramel Corner. So I took the light bulb out of the stainless steel heating bin, and I made it a salad bar. Regretfully, I sold the copper bowl, which would have been the best flower pot for my restaurant ever. But I needed a stove, and I didn't have the money. So I sold the copper pot. But I was just resourceful. Frank funded a lot of it, I will say. And that even my brothers. If I didn't have money, I would call one of my brothers and say, I need the money for the rent. And they would loan me the money. But things were very slow at the beginning. The gates at Yale were locked. There was a lot of trouble downtown. We had movie theater down the street showing very violent movies. So it just wasn't as desirable as we wanted. But slowly, the kids started climbing over the fence to come in. And we were making homemade soups. And if I could backtrack a little bit, when my brother Billy used to spend summers in Europe, my brother Billy worked at Malibu Iron Fittings in a foundry during school. And every summer, the day after school left out, he went to Europe. And he went all over the world. And he would come home with ideas about food that he ate. And then we would go to the library, and I would take books out, and I would come home and try to cook them. And my mother started getting worried. She said, "Don't you want to cook Grandma's food?" And I remember saying, "I do, but I want to cook other people's grandmother's food too." So this was perfect too, because I still sign off my name on everything, Peace, Claire. And I always feel that if we eat together and we share each other's food, we'll realize that we really have more in common than we think. And maybe we'll get along better. Hasn't quite worked yet, but I'm not quitting.
That's great. Now
So-
you're celebrating 50 years.
Yeah, celebrated 50
So
years.
it's-
So
that's amazing.
so that's pretty much how it really began. But we really got a breakthrough. I was getting very close to going out of business. I mean, I really didn't have any more money. But we were very resourceful. I needed a sign, because the sign above was this Coca-Cola thing, this white plastic thing around the building. And it said Coca-Cola, but then it said Carmel Corner. So we had a contest at Yale, and Jeff Hall named Claire's Corner Copia.
Oh.
And so I called Coca-Cola and said, "Hi, we changed the name. Could I please have someone come and change the sign?" He said, "We don't do that anymore." I said, "But I'm advertising your product on probably the busiest corner in all of Connecticut." And he said, "We're not doing it anymore." So I said, "I think you should talk with your boss, because if you don't, I'm going to have to call Pepsi." And honestly, we had a sign. I just was resourceful. Someone from an ice cream company came in and said, I needed a freezer. And he said, "If you sell my ice cream, I'll give you a freezer." I'll sell ice cream. I mean, I just wanted to be there and make food and feed people. I was kneading bread by hand. Frank left, and at one point, my sour cream and butter distributor came in, Mr. Goodman, and I was sobbing. And he said, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Because I'm going to probably have to close. I don't have the money to pay the rent. I don't have the money to pay anything." And he said, "Don't pay me." He said, "Because I know once spring comes, business will be better, because your food is really good." And he didn't take the money. And years later, this woman came in and said, "You probably won't remember my father." And I just knew it was her. I said, "Oh my God." And Rebecca's still a great customer with her daughter Avery. I always say that the happiest people are just the ones who are following their path.
Yes.
And it's not like I always want to do it. There are days when I just think, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't stay. I mean, because it's not all just happiness and, Lithuanian coffee cake. It's so much work, and some days it's difficult.
Yeah.
We rely on a lot of people. We tithe, so we support a lot of charities, so we have to see the struggles they have. So there's some days when I think I don't want to be this person, but I know that's kind of what I was meant to be.
Yeah. The restaurant became your passion.
That's it.
And you wake up and you have a mission.
That's
And-
it.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
that's
We're very mission driven.
that's great. Yeah. What a wonderful story, and how Claire's Copia came about. Now tell us about your cookbook. So you're celebrating 50 years at the restaurant,
Oh,
and so tell us all about it. And
I can't believe it. It's
such
like
a-
there was this meme somebody sent me, and it said, I was something about I wasn't paying attention for a minute, and the next thing I know, it was 1975, and here I am 50 years later, and I thought, wow, it really does go by fast. I wrote my first cookbook because I was giving recipes away all the time, and people were losing them, and so someone kept saying, "You should write a book. You should write a book." So I went to a library, learned what it took to write a book, and then I started writing this book, and then I figured I would take everything and then maybe go find a publishing company, a small one. But then my husband was having a cigar. My late husband was having a cigar with this guy who was a salesman for Penguin, and he came and said, Larry said, "Has Claire ever thought about writing a cookbook?" And he said, "Because I work at Penguin, and one of the editors had said there's this lady who runs this popular restaurant in New Haven. We should go talk with her." And I said, I don't think Penguin's going to want Claire's. I mean, I'm going to look at a little publishing company. They're big. Next thing I know, I have a phone message on my answering machine saying, I hear you have a manuscript. And I'm like, well, I don't have a manuscript. I have a bunch of recipes. So then I had an appointment to go meet this editor, Julia Moskin, in New York at Penguin. And I got a phone. Dr. Bernie Siegels was a wonderful customer.
Yes.
And he called me and said, my son wants to start this business. I think you should be partners with him. And I said, Bernie, I'd love to. I'm so honored, but I have this book I think I need to write now. So he said, oh, that's great. I told him about it. And he said, did you sign anything? I said, no, not yet. He said, don't sign anything. You need an agent. Now, the next thing I know, he arranges for me to go into New York meeting agents, which is another crazy thing because they're supposed to be interviewing you to see if they want to do. So I swear it's like dumb luck sometimes is what my life has been like. It's just, you happen to be there and you do it. You want to do something. It just did. I wish I could say that I was so calculative and I went and I did all the research and I researched the proper agent. I didn't. It just found me.
Great.
So I wrote the first book and I thought that would be it. And then it barely came out and my editor said, okay, let's start on a second book. And then I started traveling, teaching classes, which was so nice to meet people like in Indiana, and I got to see soybeans growing, and yeah, it was really wonderful. And just travel all over the country and meeting people and hearing how they were able to access good food. You know, one group of women told me that they couldn't find romaine, so they went to a bunch of their neighbors and friends and got everyone to buy a head so they could go to the grocer and get a case. So it was really nice to hear. But also, as we were doing this, the science started coming out in our favor. Like we kind of instinctively knew because my mother would always tell me, eat this, it's good for you. But I was very interested in the science of why. And it was just the right thing at the right time because we knew that eating more fruits and vegetables and whole grains and less meat and no processed foods or little processed foods was the best way to avoid a lot of diseases. So that was very interesting to me. Then I wrote a third book. Then the fourth book, I'm like, I'm never writing another book. I didn't even want to write the fourth book because I don't like writing cookbooks. It's lonely. You know, you're all by yourself. You're typing. You're in the kitchen by yourself. It's just very lonely. But I admire people who could do this all the time. So I wasn't going to write another book, and then my husband had a cigar with Larry, the guy. Only now he worked for Globe Pequod Press in Guilford at the time. And he said, Larry asked if for me to ask you if Claire's in the mood to write another book. I said, and you told him no, I hope. And he said, well, actually, I told him I'd talk with you. He's like, just write another one, just one more book. I'm like, okay, that's it though. So I wrote this book. And then, unfortunately, my husband passed away like the minute it came out. So I didn't do very much with it. In fact, I didn't do very much for a while. And then I woke up because I have this amazing community. And we were starting to approach our 50th anniversary. And then Globe Pequod called and said, it's going to be your 50th anniversary. You should write a book. And I was like, oh, God. So I said, sure. So at this point, I have a friend, Bonnie, who years ago told me that after she turned 50, there were only two reasons to get her to work doing anything that she didn't love. And one was it had to be a ton of fun or a ton of money. Well, I added a third to it. It either had to have a redeeming social value, a ton of fun, or a ton of money so that I could do the redeeming social value. And so this fifth book, I thought, you know what, this is going to be my gift to the city because 50 years is a lot and I wouldn't be here without our community.
Yes.
Our mission has always been to lift New Haven children out of poverty. And back 3.5 years ago, I learned that the second biggest reason why New Haven school kids don't go to school is because they don't have hygiene supplies, like no soap, no shampoo. It's ridiculous. So we started a drive and it became so big that we built a closet at the Yale Child Study Center on George Street. And we now have it. We have a QR code and we keep getting supplies for it. So if you want to donate it's Someone Cares Closet. But for our 50th anniversary present, I've been doing a lot of reading about emotional intelligence and about power for kids and about negative energy power and like how to improve it. And we think that we could change the narrative. And actually they're doing a study at Yale Child Study about social intelligence and about power and control. And if we could supply kids with what they need, like an abundance of necessities, they won't be so angry. And maybe if we could focus and gather them to maybe build a ramp for a kid with one leg, you change the power narrative. And that's what we're hoping to do. So we decided we're going to go big. We're developing kindness closets because our hashtag has always been be kinder than necessary. So for the last year before the anniversary, we took all the proceeds, all the profits we made from selling all of our cookbooks in the restaurant and our charity merchandise. We partnered with Marrakesh, who are wonderful. We partnered with Marrakesh, and the people with special needs made Lithuanian coffee cake and apple pie chai scented candles, soy candles, and cutting boards engraved, and kitchen towels. And we also sold our T-shirts and our baseball caps and our book bags, and we raised about a little over $11,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. So, but then a couple of customers wanted to start making larger donations, and then one of our lawyers said, you need to make it a 501c3. So we decided to do that. But then at our anniversary, Lindy Lee Gold, a friend who happens to run a wonderful foundation, is going to match whatever we collect for our charity. So I'm really excited about that. So we met, and we're going to be doing, we're calling them kindness closets, and we're going to build them out in libraries. We're starting with Mitchell Library. It looks like the first one in New Haven. And we're going to have food pantry, because police officers have told us they bring kids home and they see no food in the refrigerator, which is not going to happen. So we're going to do a food pantry in there. We're going to do hygiene products. We're going to do books, and Read to Grow is already offered to help. And we're going to do games so they can play. And we're going to have a wish list so they can have winter coats, and we'll know the sizes, and shoes. And so that's pretty much what we're doing now. And,
so many great community partners too.
Oh my God.
Everybody's getting involved. That's wonderful.
You know what? People, I have learned this so many times. People really want to help. They don't know how or what to do sometimes. If you say to someone, I need shoes, size 5 for a kid with no shoes, they're going to go out and get it. I have a friend, Sarah, who has the 100 Best Girlfriends Club. She was a social worker at Hamden High School. I would get a phone call on my machine at home, and it would say, hi, girlfriend, I need $20. Hi, girlfriend, I need $10. Because who can't afford $10 or $20 if you're working, So, and you put it together, and this child could have a winter coat, or they could have a gown to go to the prom. So we're kind of doing that. And you know what? I've been blessed. I have a lot of friends, and we're going to work together. And that's pretty much where we're at now. In addition to that, though, we're also making food. We're still making food, and we're still baking a lot. And we're trying to do more with letting customers, like, really, because after COVID, I think people stopped caring about what they ate as much as they used to. And they really, you're going to start seeing the heart attacks again. You're going to start seeing more of high blood pressure. You're going to start seeing more, basically, by and large, preventable diseases. So we're doing more edamame and organic kale, and really focusing on, like, foods with, like, complex carbohydrates and nutrients and flavor, of course, because no one's going to want to eat food that doesn't taste good.
That's great. You're promoting healthy eating. That's important in today's world too. And it's everything is, we all have to eat healthy to stay healthy. And I think it's important. And the good work that you're doing, it's going to spread.
Thank you. I think so.
It's great.
I think it is.
You got a wonderful story, a wonderful mission, and I think it's just going to keep on growing.
Thank you.
Just like the kindness that you give off. I think it's going to be really something.
Thank you.
What advice do you have for people, especially younger people, our younger generation? What words would you say to them?
I think one of the most important gifts we can teach a child is empathy. Is the other. My mother drilled it into our heads. She would, if I came home complaining about something, she'd say, how would you feel if that was your brother? And of course, I was a snotty little teenager, and I would say, but it isn't my brother, Mom. And she'd say, but it's someone's brother, and it could be your brother. And I think that's what kids don't understand, and because you have to learn it, and you have to show it. But originally we started out thinking we would teach empathy to the school kids. But as I see the kids and hear their stories, how can you teach empathy to someone who's not been given empathy? And you've not been given empathy if you're going to bed hungry, if you don't have a proper meal, if you are cold because you don't have a winter coat. So if you want to teach empathy, you have to show empathy. And then we can teach it after that. So that's why we're starting with basic needs and some fun things.
That's wonderful. We could take, if you want to take some questions from the audience. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, sure. Of course.
Ready?
Will the kindness closets be in schools as well, or just in the Stratton Library?
We're absolutely, so we're not, one of the reasons we're not doing them in the schools is because we're not even going to do the kindness classes until after we feel as though we have the kids in a position where they could accept empathy. Like if they're not given empathy, I think it's a little tough to teach a kid about empathy when they go home hungry, or when they don't have a winter coat, or when they just don't have food at home, or for their siblings. So I think after that, and one of the problems with the schools is that they're not open on the weekends, they're not open at night, and kids are hungry those times too. And the libraries are open more hours. I also want to talk about, and Linda and I were talking about that the other day. Linda May is from the Yale Child Study. She is the director of the Yale Child Study Center. She's my partner in this new nonprofit. And we were talking about faith-based organizations as well, because they're in the neighborhoods and everybody could walk to them. So yeah, and as far as the schools don't usually even allow a food pantry. In fact, I've just learned, are you a teacher by chance?
No.
Well, I just learned recently, and this was overwhelming, that in the cafeterias in the schools, perfectly edible food in packages has to be thrown away and can't be given to the kids to take home. I'm not surprised, because I think it has to do, I'm going to find out about it, because I think it has to do with federal funding. And if you don't show that you're using the food, you won't get as much the next year. So it's just a terrible system.
I worked in a cafeteria. I actually managed one in Guilford, and you're right to that. They did, a couple of the elementary schools did have a sharing table, but there's so much having to do with allergies, and even in the younger, tampering with things, and milk that was out and not refrigerated and stuff like that. So there's a lot of tangibles within that, but we also had to force the kids, which whatever, just because of the funding, okay, you have to have 5 different things on your plate, your fruit, and you know what, you're giving them carrots, and they don't want the carrots. So now they're throwing that away, which is such a waste. I mean, it really was pretty unbelievable. But in my I'm vegan, so the kids all knew nothing with a face, even though I was serving them stuff that I wouldn't eat, but I would try to teach them about that. But we were doing hummus, pita chips. We had the kids that played youth football. I would do a salad bar twice a week on my own. But then we started doing salads, and the kids would pre-order. And there were some days that I was doing 25, 30 salads.
That's great.
They got to choose their protein, which could have been the hummus, it could have been, chicken patty, whatever, cheese, whatever they were doing. But they were ordering salads because they knew that they needed to be healthier, But I mean, it was pretty amazing. But like I said, there were so many different reasons why they had to take, whether they ate it or not. I mean, I was putting little telephone buttons faked on bananas so that they would take the bananas. We had contests on the apples. We'd wash the apples but keep the sticker on. So which class had more stickers, and whatever. There were different things that we were doing to try to get the kids, engaged in showing them what the different foods were. But unfortunately, I also worked an after-school program, and we did, I worked with Debbie, I forgot her last name, but anyway, she was really into nutrition and whatnot. And we had the kids we had them bread their own chicken, and we baked it and had chicken nuggets. And the kids chose the chicken nuggets, even though they helped make the other chicken, because that's what they're used to at home. And people don't understand. They're only choosing what they're used to. I mean, I'm struggling with that with my grandkids as to what I'm feeding them, when they're over. But and they get another thing too, and then I'll give the floor to somebody else. It always bothered me that they always had these big, what classroom is going to win the contest of who's bringing the most food in. Thanksgiving. Well, you know what? People are hungry all year round. So we inundate the food banks and everything else with Thanksgiving. You know, we're giving who's doing corn, who's doing, and then the rest of the school year, you're giving nothing. You know, I don't understand why they don't stretch that through the whole school year. You know, I mean, September, you know, concentrate on macaroni, you know, whatever, macaroni and cheese or macaroni or pasta or whatever, sauce or whatever. Do different themes for, you know, but they don't, it's Thanksgiving and then there's nothing, you know.
You're right. People are more generous then. Yale used to do this program called Christmas in April,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
which was because we used to always tease and say, we just need Christmas in April. We need a holiday in April besides Easter. We need like a Christmas so that people feel that giving streak. But you're right. But I think what we were doing was very clever. I'm a little surprised that they weren't eating the food they made, because we found in classes that we've taught, if the kids made it, they ate it.
Yeah.
More, they were more apt to eat it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know her, but no, we would do like, I would have the kids, and I would bake everything vegan, but we made our own muffins for the after school program. I had them baking things, and we would have them come up and they would choose the things they wanted in their smoothies, and we do individual ones.
See, that's
of course, we
great.
had, you know, ones that were dairy free and, you know, different, you know, no cross contamination or whatever, but you know, they really enjoyed that. But I would try to do everything vegan so that all the kids could enjoy
Right.
what they
Allergy
made.
safe.
And I'm talking, like you said, with a recipe, you have it where they're measuring out the flour and the sugar, and
They
what
learn
it is
about
to
math
make,
that way too.
you know.
Yeah.
And they loved it. They loved it. I mean, when I left,
Do they sign up for that, or do they have to do it?
no, they didn't have to do it, but they all wanted to.
So see, that to me, that's like the best way to do it, because they say, studies consistently show that kids who who do that are more apt to eat it. And we used to have a rule in the classes we taught. It was called a no thank you taste.
Yeah.
Everyone had to taste something, because they say 3 times you have to taste it to know if you like it. They would have to take 3 tastes before they could say no thank you. And they were just more apt to even try it. But we also had the rule that they had to. But yeah, but you're right. We need more of that. And the only good thing about this whole shutdown now with the government, I feel, is it's brought people together more. But years ago, the science teacher came into the restaurant, and I remember her saying to her group of students, stop expecting the government to save you. They're not going to. They can't, and they won't. We need to save each other and ourselves. And just like with 9/11, where everybody came together, I mean, unfortunately, it takes a tragedy, which is terrible. But it's beautiful to see what people are doing. I was telling my friend that I know a woman who runs this foundation. Actually, it's a town fair foundation. And she just wrote a check for $10 million yesterday to the New England food banks. I mean, people are donating. People are looking and helping. People are banding together and just trying to.
It's important to give to our food banks too, not
Yes.
just when in time of need, but year round. And that's very
Well,
important.
East Haven, I hear, does. I was talking with Joe Zullo, and he was saying he's really active with the food banks. And
Yes.
yeah, but part of it is we don't know our neighbors. You know, when I was little and poor, our neighbors knew us, and they always brought us food. They always. I laugh because the Riccitellis always invited me over on like meat night, on steak night. Little did they know it was going to be for not. But yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to do our part.
Yeah.
Everybody does. You don't get a pass.
So that's the way I was raised. We help our neighbor. You help someone in trouble.
Yeah.
And, simple act of giving, I think, and it goes a long way, and it starts to spread, and everybody starts to share that too. And I think it's important, especially today.
Exactly.
And they saw that in Camden, I think, a man started putting food out. If anybody saw that on the news, and then he asked for people to bring food and leave it there, so people would come that didn't have food, and now they have a whole big.
It's growing.
It's growing.
Wow.
People just
Said
keep
it's
dropping
higher
off
than it
food,
is.
and people that don't have the food are coming and taking what they need.
That's
amazing.
and I think we have the resources to do it. We don't know our neighbors enough. We don't know the people who need it enough because we're so separate. But I think that this is going to turn out to be a good thing for all of us.
Yes.
You know, it's just going to be good for our souls.
Yes. I do have one final question. Do you have a favorite recipe?
You know, everybody always asks me that.
Probably get that asked a lot.
No, but the reason I don't know that I do is because I always tease that if I'm on the counter, I'll hear what people are ordering, and I'll think, I think I'll have that for supper tonight, or oh, I'll have that for supper tonight. So I was thinking about it. I do love the vegan breakfast sandwich with its toasted multigrain bread with sautéed either organic arugula, that's my favorite with it, or spinach or kale, and then it has sliced avocado, and it has grilled vegan sausages. It is, and with a chili vinaigrette on top drizzled. It is so darn good because kind of the saltiness, the sweetness, just a nice combination, the creaminess of the avocado. And I'm a soup fiend. I love soup. I could eat soup every day.
What is your favorite?
Wow.
In the world?
Oh, that you make. So, yeah.
No, I mean, okay, so probably lentil vegetable, probably Italian lentil vegetable, although I adore pasta fagioli, and I know somebody else here who does too. And but I love all our soups. I love split pea soup, but I love a good lentil soup with like carrots and celery and onions and zucchini and spinach.
Great.
I like that.
Good.
I also like white bean with sweet potato. Yeah, I like a nice split pea soup. Although I've been making, and I never used to like curry, and now I'm liking curry. But I make this South African vegetable soup with coconut broth, with a coconut milk in it. I know Donna's dying. She's like, "Don't make me taste this." It's become quite popular. It's very, very nice. It has those rich South African spices like cumin and cayenne, and cumin, cayenne, and a little pepper. So it's really, quite flavorful.
We're all getting hungry now.
But so I just love soup and bread.
Yeah.
I love soup and bread, and I love our eggplant parmesan. I love it. And our eggplant parmesan. I love our eggplant parmesan. So that is very good. What else do I love? Anything Mexican. I love our spinach tomato quesadilla with a homemade queso blanco.
That's great. So, well, we're going to wrap it up. And where can we find your cookbook? And on social media? On the
It's
website?
on all the, well, it's at
Where
Claire's.
can we find you?
It's at Claire's. And it's also on I think all the bookstores pretty much have it. I know Yale Co-op has it. I know RJ Julia has it. Amazon has it. Pretty much everywhere where books are sold. Yeah. And all the proceeds from that forever will go to Be Kinder Than Necessary. That's what I decided. That was my commitment from this book. So all the proceeds will go forever.
That's wonderful.
It's because our hashtag, if you've noticed, you've probably noticed on the mugs when you come to Claire's, the hashtag we've had for like 40 years is Be Kinder Than Necessary. And it's actually painted on our soffit in the restaurant as well, hashtag Be Kinder Than Necessary. So we're calling the nonprofit Be Kinder Than Necessary, but the closets themselves will be kindness closets. In fact, one of our gals at Claire's is doing the logo now. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Oh, that's great.
And it'll be our kindness closets. And who knows? I mean, God willing, we'll be able to get this so that it could be a model for across the country. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, we're going to have all the tools. We're never going to like charge for it. We'll always have like the tools available to share. Yeah.
Great. Well, definitely keep up the good work. It's amazing work that
you.
you're doing. It's such an inspiration to us all.
Thank you. And if you
Yeah,
want to,
it's-
our social media will always have our things, what we do. And then we're going to be setting up social media and a website. It will have its own website as soon as we get all the paperwork finished for Be Kinder Than Necessary. And then in the meantime, it'll be on our website and our social media. And then it will have its own social media once it just happened so fast. It's like, we've been planning this for over a year. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, okay, it's really happening. Now Linda's writing the mission statement. I ordered another copy of Robert's Rules because I forgot. I haven't been on a board for 30 years, 25 years. I was on the board for the New Haven Project for Battered Women, but I haven't been on one since. So we'll figure it out. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank
It-
you.
it
I
was great.
appreciate it.
And,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
And come see us at Claire's.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And you can find out more about Hagaman Library programs at at www.hagamanlibrary.org. And we're doing a lot of events and programs throughout the town. Thank you, and
The reopening?
happy reading.
No, reopening. When are you reopening?
We are reopening in January. We haven't gotten a date yet, but we're all anxious to go back to work, but they're gonna let us know. So January soon. So,